Welcome, resilient agents and investors from across the country. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2020, and this is role play call number 52. Chad, we got a huge turnout. We have as many people on this call as we usually do for the role play call, and we have 4 in the queue already. If any of you have not been on this call, I just kind of tell you the difference. Every Thursday, as a matter of fact, tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, we do an open forum call where virtually anything goes, questions, answers, struggles, wins, it's truly an open forum. This call we would like to keep to the purpose of role play. So if you have a question or an issue or something, try to put it in the form of a role play. And usually Chad is very willing to be the agent. Recently we've had a number of very brave agents that, let Chad be the executor and be tough on them and, to kind of challenge their skills. And either scenario is fine. So we're very open to either scenario. Chad, anything you want to say? We got 4 in the queue, and we do have room for more, guys. Just hit *6 and then hit 1, and you'll be next up in the queue. Anything you want to add, Chad, before we get started?
No, I think maybe we should be role-playing how to deal with bankers on PPP and EIDL. That seems to be what everybody else is dealing with this week. I will mention before we get rolling, if you guys aren't aware, we're doing a new series called Shift Happens. And, I guess it's been almost 3 weeks ago since we began. We decided just every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to try to bring you guys, whatever information we can to be helpful. We just now finished 2 hours of talking about the SBA loan programs, the EIDL and the PPP program. So if you weren't with us there and you're not sure what you're eligible for, or as an independent contractor, an investor, a realtor, or a business entity owner, check our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind. That'll be posted there, as well as this call and other role play calls are posted there on our website and on YouTube. So that's it. I think we can get to the lines, Jim.
All right, and just to clarify, that's SHIFT happens, shift. Just to make sure everybody was clear on that. Clever name, and you're getting we're wearing you out. I listened to part of it today. You're getting some awesome questions. All right, well, we have 5 in the queue, guys. Great job. First up this week is phone number ending in 1198. You're up first.
Hey, Chad. How's it going? Matt Burns here with Team Paley in Long Island, New York.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
Good. So we started making our phone calls a couple days ago, and I just wanted to do a little bit of role play. I would be the agent. So
before we jump in, so since you're on Long Island and since your state says that it is illegal for you to phone prospect, are you calling in-state or out-of-state or both?
I'm actually calling both, and I believe the way that we've taken it is that it's not supposed to be robocalls. So my impression is you're able to make phone calls to people that, especially in a probate instance, you're just calling to see where they're at in the probate service sector. So
I hope that's true.
Yeah, we actually have a few. One of our winners of the week last week was in New York City, and she was doing the same thing. She was getting on the phone. We always recommend just check with your broker. It's like calling the DNC. Make sure you're comfortable. But personally, you're calling to help the people. So I admire your gumption and your attitude. And I'm just curious, has anybody been upset with you calling so far, or have you had any pushback or not?
No one has specifically said I'm on the do not call list or how can you call me during this time. The people that I've had conversations with for longer than a minute or so are actually receptive. So
that's great.
Good. You're doing it right.
Keeping it going,
And you're brave. You're going to be the agent. You're going to call Chad, right? He's the executor.
Yes, I am.
All right,
I interrupted
go ahead.
you because I wanted to talk about that because Jim and I actually called the New York State Association of Realtors yesterday and went through every bit of their phone tree and wasn't able to speak to anyone. That's why I asked. I just wondered. So I did interrupt you though. So you go ahead with your setup. What can we do to help you?
That's fine. Okay. So ring ring.
So you, sorry, what I was saying is I wasn't being a good listener and didn't get exactly what you want to get from this. So you want to be the agent?
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to be the agent. And
is there anything in particular, or you just want to freestyle?
I kind of wanted to freestyle. A lot of the objections that I'm getting now is that the people specifically that I've gotten in touch with over the last couple of days, they're already done with the probate process because we're calling leads from February. So they may be done with the probate process, and the main objection is everything's taken care of or not really in the need of anything right now. So, and I've gotten past that a couple times to get emails and commitments to follow back up with them, which is great. I'm not expecting for a home run on the first shot. So I guess I'm going to keep at it in that respect, but I just wanted to kind of role play and see how things pan out. And any training's good training. So.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Let's jump in.
Great. Ring ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this Chad?
This is Chad. Who is this?
Hi, Chad. This is Matt Burns at Probate Estate Services. How are you?
I'm okay, Matt. What can I do for you?
Okay, good. Well, Chad, I was just giving you a quick call. I'm following up on a letter that we sent out to you. I'm not sure if you saw that, but the purpose of that letter was just to introduce our team and how we've helped families here on Long Island going through the probate process. So what we do is we go down to the courthouse every month. We find families that are going through this so that we can proactively reach out to them and just introduce our services and see if there's something that could be useful to them. And I saw that you were named as an executor on the probate filing. Is that correct?
That's right, but I mean we have an attorney and we're pretty much done with everything, Matt. Like it's pretty much dealt with. We don't really need any help.
Okay, it's great you're working with an attorney. They're an important part of the process. We in fact work with a lot of probate attorneys on a daily basis. We usually consider them a part of our team. Usually they just handle the legal aspect, and so that's only about 25% of a to-do list in most cases. We've put together an Angie's list of services that we found are essential to people that are going through the probate process and also relative outside of the probate process. If I was to give you a short list, it would include things like junk removal, construction tradespeople for big and small jobs, landscapers and accountants, real estate sales. And I'd be more than happy to send you a full list if you're all taken care of. We're happy to throw our hat in the ring if something pops up in the future, hopefully give you a bit of guidance. If we can do that for you, that's mission accomplished for me. And this phone call is really just a way for me to not be a secret agent, so to speak, because you can't use a service you never heard of. Does having a service like that sound like something that makes sense to you?
It makes sense for some families, I'm sure, but like I said, we pretty much have it handled. Right now we're locked down, we're stuck in our place, and we obviously can't do anything, and I don't really believe that you can either. So whenever we can return to life as normal, we'll move forward with where we left off, and we pretty much have it handled. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Okay, yeah, and I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to send you a little more info about us, the services we offer. I know that everyone's in a different place for what, when, and how things will be done. I really just wanted to introduce ourselves. And I know this COVID crisis has really put a damper on things. Now, you said that you were pretty much wrapped up with the probate process. But can you just give me a little bit more information about what you mean by that? Is there anything else service-wise that you guys are looking to put a bow on that maybe we can be of service to you for?
I mean, we've done what the attorneys ask us to do. Who knows when we're going to go back to court? Like the next hearing was scheduled, but a continuance has been filed. I don't even know what the date it was on it. It's probably July before we can go back and pick up where we left off, is what my understanding is from talking to the attorney. So, I mean, we've dealt with just about everything before this came down. There's a few things we still have to do, and to get Dad's apartment cleaned out. But other than that, we're taken care of.
Okay. So you said that there's an apartment that you guys are taking care of. Would any of the services that I had mentioned before be something that you guys would be open to, whether it's now or sometime in the future? Because it's really all I'm trying to do is touch base with you and see if there's something that we do that could be of use to you. And whether it's now or in the future, we're happy to be that reference for you.
So, man, like a couple of weeks ago, the answer would have been maybe. I've got 3 brothers that are all out of work. So if we needed to handle some things, we can't get out to do it right now. They have trucks and trailers. They're tradesmen, and they have nothing but time on their hands now. So my plan is to just put them in there and let them go to work, and they can earn their inheritance. But so we don't, as far as getting stuff cleaned out and taken care of, like that's my plan, is to take this time that we've been given, because we can't go back to our real lives right now, and I'm gonna have them do most of it. So what you're offering sounds cool, but I don't think we need it.
Okay. And listen, I understand, you have family members that are in a specific business that you guys need, and that's great. But, even if I was to give you a little bit more information, and somewhere in the future you reference me, and you call me up and you say, hey, Matt, I need a plumber, or I need a landscaper, or I need a real estate agent to sell the apartment that you guys are taking care of, and you already have a guy in mind, but, maybe you're looking for another opinion or a second quote, who do you got for me? That's where my job is done, and it's really the reason why I'm giving you this phone call now. So if that's the case, I'm more than happy to send you some more information about who we are, follow up with you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you guys are staying safe with everything that's going on. And then, we can touch base then and see if it's something you can visit.
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, what would be the best email then?
It's Chad at I'mNotBuyingWhatYou'reSelling.com.
Okay. Well, Chad, would you give me permission to follow up with you in a couple of weeks, just see how you guys are doing? And if something pops up at that time, I'd be more than happy to throw our hat in the ring and see where you guys stand then.
Sure. If by that time we will probably be out of toilet paper, so if you want to drop by with some Charmin, that would be amazing.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time, Chad, and hopefully you stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. We'll break. So I wasn't super tough on you, but I was resistant, because I think that's what you're hearing, right?
Yeah.
I gave you a couple of slow pitches that I'm going to say you hit foul. You didn't strike. I held off on the apartment for quite a while, and when I revealed that because I was wanting you to take me, I wanted you to get you had me in rapport, like I was responsive. I was answering you. I was being short with you.
Right.
And then eventually you didn't get to the direct real estate part of the conversation, so I threw you a slow pitch, and you kind of hit that one foul. You didn't ask me what my intent was with the apartment. You didn't ask me who owned the apartment. I told you that we were going to clear it out and it was no big deal, and I could have not had a plan beyond that. And I created an opportunity for you to really show me your value, and you kind of missed it. The number one thing I want to point to, I want you to come back and listen to this recording and listen to how much talking you're doing relative to how many questions you're asking and how much you're listening. Like, your language is good. Your confidence is good. But I think you might be talking, I think you're talking more than you're listening. There's a period in there where I let you run for probably a minute and a half, and I didn't say a word. Now, professional to professional, I know what you're doing. You're wanting to get your value out, But if you're not in really solid rapport with somebody and you run a minute and a half without asking them an affirming question, like, does that make sense to you? Do you understand? Would you agree? Like, you've got to keep them engaged. And you probably, I wasn't timing it, but we probably ran almost 90 seconds where you didn't even ask for any input from me. So it was a kind of a one-way conversation. And you tend to lose people there. Because if they're not really engaged, then they're just going to sit there and be, they're going to be on Facebook like, when the hell is this guy going to quit talking? So I want you to listen to this, and I want you to think, go back through it with that mindset. Where could I have layered in other questions? Where did I miss opportunity? So one of the things, like when I told you everything was handled, you told me you did a good job saying, oh, actually we work with the attorneys and we pick up where they leave off. One opportunity that you have right there is to say, for example, Mr. Smith, one of the things that almost every attorney overlooks is that if there's any real estate in the estate, if it's vacant, a lot of times the existing insurance policy won't cover it. So just as an example, that's usually one of the first check boxes we look at when we speak to a family. So has your attorney talked to you about that? And is there any real estate that is vacant in the estate? And that would have brought that way up. That would have brought real estate up way sooner in the conversation, and it would have given them an example of why, that you actually do provide value that the attorney isn't, and it really kind of gets them back on their heels because they're like, well, what do you mean the insurance doesn't cover it? And then so you would have found out, you would have gotten engagement, you would have had something to talk about there. You could have provided value by saying, by the end of the day, when we get off the phone, I'll send a tax card over to David. He'll go ahead and get the quote and everything set up and call you. If you're comfortable with the premium, he can bind the policy today so you're covered. Does that make sense? Is that something you would find valuable? A follow-up, get that affirmation. And so there's just some little things that you can do to make it more of a dialogue. You can keep me more engaged. I wouldn't say that you should cut any of the information out. You just need to you think about it as think about it if it were written out in a script, like it's me, you, and the me section was way longer for you. So just find out how to include me in the conversation more often, so you keep me engaged. Yeah. And the other thing, I told you I had brothers that were tradesmen that were out of work, and I intended to have them do that. If you have stories to point back to, a lot of times families think like a brother might expect his other brothers to just step up because they're unemployed. The reality is his brothers might be sitting on their ass drinking beer, playing Xbox, collecting unemployment, and there's a good reason they don't have that, that they're where they are, and that they're going to let him down. So I created an opportunity for you there to say, well, listen, a lot of families we work with do actually try to tackle this on their own at first. And it's usually in the second or third or fourth month when they realize they kind of need us as a safety net. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to at least, send you an email with a list of the services we can provide. And if your family ever comes up short, or someone, God forbid, somebody's sick and they just can't help you and can't do it, or they're out looking for work and they can't do it, just know that we've got your back. We are here in the community, and we do have solutions. As soon as we can get out and move around, we can do it all for you. You don't have to lift a finger, and your family can go, work on more important things. So you sometimes can show them how their plan is not very well thought through, and it's not really going to be the best option for them. And another similar scenario is like when they're like, oh, no, my brother's going to buy the house. Well, a lot of times the brother is about as credit worthy as their 3-year-old kid, right? Like he couldn't get a loan if he begged for it.
Right.
And a lot of times they haven't even thought of that because they don't think about finance that often, right? So sometimes when the family is the plan, if they don't have like specifics, if they're not saying, oh, well, we got this for this date and this for this date and this for this date, they're saying that because they really believe that's how it's going to work. The family's just going to step up and handle everything, but a lot of times they don't. And if you have stories to pull from in the past, that's really, it can be really powerful. But even if you
Right.
don't, you can say, in our experience, a lot of times families have a good intent, but as busy as life is today, a lot of times the family just doesn't show up to help. So we end up coming in 2, 3, 4 months later after that plan didn't work, fell apart, now people are angry with each other, then we come in and do our part. So I want to let you know that we're here in the community. If you find yourself in that situation, call me sooner than later. It's not going to cost you anything up front to know what I would do, and just let me know what you're facing, and we'll find a way to deal with it for you. Can we agree
Right.
to that?
Yeah.
And just so little things like that will polish what you're doing. But your language is good, man. Your confidence is good. You know what you're providing. Like you're clear on what you can do to help. I would just listen to this recording and critique yourself and say, okay, where can I put in good questions and get engagement back from him as we progress through this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could just add something real quick, even though I agree you could have talked a little bit less, you really did a good job. It was obvious that you were listening because you did a good job every time of repeating, summarizing, and affirming what Chad said. And this is a very small criticism, but one time after you did that, you repeated, you agreed, and then you said, but. I would just always try to substitute but with and, because once you say but, it's like it kind of negates everything you said up. Everything you said up to that point. But no, you are, for just starting out. I mean, honestly, you're doing very, very well, and you got a lot of confidence, and that shows through in your communication. So, and thanks for being brave and stepping up. Not too many people want to do that in front of. We got over 120 people on the call, so I'm sure everybody learned something. We appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate it too, guys, and I just want to say I'm going to take those criticisms to heart. I'll keep at it. And I don't take it as a loss. If I get an email and some sort of rapport with them, I will follow up. I know that's, the follow-up is where money can be made as well. I don't expect to hit a grand slam every time I hit the phones, but I'm going to work on it, and hopefully that happens more times than not.
Hey, one thing that I had kind of marked something that I wanted to talk to you about, and I forgot. The other thing is, even if they do have it handled, even if they don't need our help, the two big things that we can do for everybody, we can get them over to a registered investment advisor so they can understand the tax implications and the investment opportunities with their final distribution or for their final distribution, and we can help them set up an estate plan. What most families don't know during the probate process is it will cost them about, on average, about 5% of the gross value of the estate just in administration costs. So if the estate was worth $100,000, it's probably like $5,000. And in New York, the numbers, they're going to be more zeros than that, right? So you can remind them that part of your process, whether they think they need help or not, say, well, listen, it's important to us that every family we make contact with, we at least let them know all the things we can do. And one of the things that is most shocking to the families we work with is that we don't just, when probate's closed, we still continue to help you because do you know your options about 529 college savings plans? Do you know the tax implications of receiving insurance money or receiving pension plans or receiving your dad's retirement account? Do you know that you can save 5% of the gross value of your estate and your family doesn't have to go through what you're going through right now, and it only costs you about $2,000 to set up a living trust? Most folks don't know those things. So one of the things I'd like to offer to you, whether you think you need my help or not, is I'd like to offer you to sit down with two of the professionals on my team and cover both of those bases. Is that something you'd be willing to accept from me?
Yeah, that's great.
So even when they hang up the phone, they're going to be thinking, holy smokes, this is New York, and a guy just offered me that, and he wasn't trying to, he's not even getting paid. It's going to stick in their mind. And if they're talking to anyone else, the absence of that is going to be a stark contrast. When someone calls with the me, I'll buy it, I'll list it, that kind of approach, they're going to think, wow, that other guy was really looking out for my family. He was talking about, taking care of everything so my brothers could go find employment, and he was making sure that we never went through this again and that we save money. And so just that human aspect of that, take those few extra seconds and just never take no for an answer, which you're good at. You did that really well. But show them how, even if they think they don't need your help, they can benefit from what you do. And those two things are two of the best examples, whether they own real estate or not.
Yeah.
All right.
I really
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have 7 more in the queue. We do have to try to get out of this call. We got a podcast that we're doing afterwards, so we're going to try to wrap it up by 2 or 2:15 or 3 or 3:15. But 7 more, and next I just said not but and. Next up is 856 phone number ending at 8564. You're up next.
Yes, good afternoon. Thurman Cohen here in Mercer County, New Jersey. Want to relate to you a lightning strike that I got.
Sure.
I want to be you're going to call me. The person actually called me, so.
Yeah, they're usually inbound.
Yeah, so ring ring.
So what role are you playing?
I'm going to be the executor.
Okay.
And I'm going to call you.
Okay.
Yeah. So ring ring.
Hello, it's Chad.
Hi. I got your letter, and I want you to take me off your list.
Okay. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Grace Allen.
Okay. And Grace, I'm guessing you must be the executor of an estate because we go to the county clerk and find out who is each month, and we try to reach out to offer whatever help we can. Is that right? Are you an executor or an executrix?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. And if you can help me, what month did you file probate? In order to find your name, that'll help me out.
Well, I just need to know, will you take me off your list?
I will if I can find out which list you were on. We actually get a list from the clerk every 30 days. We go to the clerk's office. So if you can tell me what date you actually petitioned the court for probate, then I'll know which place to go, where to go look to take you off the list.
It was in February.
Okay, in February. All right. And Grace, if you don't mind my asking, have you guys gotten everything handled? Have you taken care of everything, or the reason?
We have an attorney and we have everything fine. I need you to stop talking. And the only thing I need to know from you is that you will take me off your list.
It seems like you're upset. Is that at me or with something else?
Will you take me off your list?
I've already told you I would, and I asked you what month, and you
Okay,
told me
thank
so,
you very much.
I'm going to do that. Hey, Grace. Hey, Grace.
I think she hung up.
No. Well, I didn't hear the click.
She had a stroke.
Yeah. So 50% of them, like you ratcheted up on me, which is actually pretty rare. Normally if I get engagement, and that's why I didn't really need to know which list you were on, because I can go into my probate leads and search your name and you'll come up, right?
Yeah.
But you can only hold negative energy for so long, and you weren't that hot under the collar when you first called. You ratcheted up, which I've actually never had happen. Usually people call me at a 10, and I'll walk them down to a 2 or 3, and we'll have a good conversation. But you called me at like a 5, and then you took it to a 9.5. So like I tell everybody on the lightning strike, you're going to lose about half of them. Like half of people are just operating from pure ego, and it's because they're hurt. It's because they're in pain. It's because they're scared. And in all the stuff that, in waiting tables and selling real estate and, in law enforcement, I've never found a way to get through somebody's ego. And I've asked some of the top psychologists in the world. And when people have that fully switched on ego, you just can't break through it sometimes. Your best bet is to try to shock their pattern. And probably where, you gave me an opportunity, you were staying engaged and you were getting more intense, and then you hung up on me. And what I was hoping to do was hold you at that, like let you feel that heat and go through that intensity, and then like wear you down, wear off that energy where I was actually talking to Grace again, because you showed me Grace's ego big time, and you weren't listening to a damn thing I had to say anyways. So I wanted to try to say, it seems like you're upset. Is that with me or something else? And then you just frickin' blew up, right? which I didn't expect it in my experience, and I'm not in Jersey either. Maybe that's more realistic there, but usually that non-accusatory statement of like, it seems like you're upset, is that me or someone else? A lot of times that'll be followed by venting. And they'll be like, well, it's just, we've been trapped in the house for 30 days and all these damn letters are showing up and everyone's trying to steal the house and I'm done. I don't want any more mail. And you'll start to hear things like that. And that's what I expected. And then I was going to try to affirm that it was a pain in the ass and that, we reach out with good intentions to help families. And then I'd hit you with a couple questions. So that's where I was headed. So I didn't expect you to start out mild and then turn up the heat, but you did. And that's how it played out. So I got hung up on. Now, I will say I will take Grace off the mailing list, but I wouldn't hesitate to call her again.
Okay.
And I would re-enter that conversation, in a couple of weeks or a couple of months and just say, Grace, my name's Chad. We spoke a couple of months ago. It didn't really go well. You seem like you were really upset that day. But I have talked to so many families through this COVID crisis that really needed our help that I'm willing to take the risk of you chewing my ass again today to see if there's anything I can do to help your family. So is there anything you can think of that a guy who's not going to ask you for money up front, who's not going to try to steal anything from you, I'm truly just calling to check in as a member of your community. Is there any help your family can use? Because times are tough right now. And just present it that way. Like, I'm expecting you to chew my ass, but I'm willing to take that risk because I see so many other families in your position. And that's how I would try to reconnect with her.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Next up is phone number ending in 9065. You're up next.
Hi. I took your mastery training in January. I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm speaking to Darcy about getting the March because I figured that you might have changed some of the approach because of the current crisis, but I was told that recordings weren't available because of the quality of the March Mastery class or something.
They were really terrible. GoToWebinar was having a lot of trouble when we were doing that, so the recordings were very patchy. I do session 1 they completely lost. I do have session 2 and 3, which it sounds like session 3 is what you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely session 3.
If email support@alltheleads.com and tell them that Chad said to send you this March session 3. Just understand the audio is really choppy, and
sure.
Show me some grace there.
Absolutely.
I sat on hold with them for 3 hours trying to get to their support team, and they never did answer. So
my question actually has to do with maybe for the benefit of everyone else hearing this, how would you change the approach? I have the non-script scripts outlined for myself. I think I know how to get through the beginning part of the call. How would you change it based on this? Because I'm in Broward County, Florida. People are just not going near anyone. They're not going to the home if it's vacant. They're obviously very tense because of what's going on, and I'm glad I heard
Let's
that
just jump in.
call.
Let's start from the beginning. And I know that Florida, just so everybody else on the call understands, states that require court confirmation have some additional challenges, and it's not right now. It's 3 months down the road or 2 months down the road, right? So Florida is one of those states that does require court confirmation. Just so you understand, this won't apply to all of you. If you're in a market like Virginia that doesn't require court confirmation for the sale of real estate, then it's going to be far easier. So this is kind of the worst case scenario. So what was your name?
Reno.
Reno?
Yeah.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Reno.
Yeah, who's this?
Hey, is this Reno?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I like to make sure I don't always come up with the right number. My name is Chad Corbett. I had sent you guys a letter a week or so ago, but considering everything that's going on, I wanted to follow up and just make sure that you got it and you understood why we sent it.
What's this letter about?
Well, I'm glad I called. It sounds like you didn't, if my name doesn't ring a bell. We have a team of people right here in Florida that help families going through probate. And in a normal environment, we visit the clerk's office every 30 days and find out who we need to be reaching out to, and reach out to let you know that there's a kind of a new service in the community that most people aren't aware that exists, and see how we can help. And that ranges, from help them with little small things like handling personal property sales all the way to
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm not. Why are you calling me? I'm not sure I understand.
I'm not
because
sure yet.
we have an
We're
attorney.
still getting there.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, I'm calling you and every other family that's going through this, as I do each month, because we have a team of people here in the community, including the probate attorneys. We consider them a member of our team because our service does everything that theirs does not. So they're going to handle the legal aspects, which is usually about 15 to 25% of the overall responsibility that you have. The rest of it's on your shoulders. And especially in times like this, like a lot of families just don't know what they can or cannot do. So one of the first things, is just with most of the families I've spoken to already, they just want to know, we didn't think we could do anything because our attorney hasn't been talking to us. And that's actually not true. Like I see a lot of the families we've spoken to have just been sitting around afraid to do anything because they didn't know the rules. And I'm sure you probably feel that way too, right?
Well, the attorney just told me to just sit tight. It's going to be a while till we can do anything.
Right.
So we're just kind of, when we have a chance, we go out to the house and we try to pick through some of the stuff. There's so much. My dad left so much.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of one of the things that we've done to kind of pivot in this environment. Normally, we would offer to come to the house, like make sure the family has gotten everything they want, put everything else in a different location, and we would have a tag sale or an auction sale, maximize the money we can get for the personal property. And then if there was real property owned, we would talk about the options of taking the money from the personal property and putting that back into the real property to create more equity for the family. It's a little tough to do that now. We can't really do estate sales because we can't have gatherings of more than 10 people. But we do have a solution even in that case. We've partnered with a company called Everything But the House. And what they do is they actually do online estate sales. So we've actually leveraged our relationships with companies like that can move forward in a virtual environment. So I just want to be clear. If I can show you ways that serves the family's interest, meaning that it will get this done in a shorter amount of time and it will result in more equity for the family, is that something you're interested in, or do you just want to sit tight and do nothing for 4 or 6 months until the attorney calls you back after the court backlog clears?
I don't know. Maybe I'll speak to my wife about it.
Okay. One of the things you and your wife need to discuss is there real estate owned by the estate, and if so, do you guys have a plan for it?
Actually, there's a house. Like I said, it's just full of stuff. My dad decided in the will that he's going to leave it to my daughter, and my daughter is actually in quarantine right now because she's in emergency services, and she's not in town and she can't deal with it. So we're going to kind of leave it up to her.
Okay. And is her intent
when
to
she's
live
ready
in the
to deal
home,
with it. No, I don't think so, because her and her husband and her daughter are living in a different part of the state.
Okay.
But they're kind of like in chaos up there right now, so I haven't really talked about it much with her.
And has your attorney helped you guys switch over the insurance policy to a vacant policy?
What do you mean by that? We have homeowners insurance on there.
Right, but it's not, if the home has been vacant for more than 30 days, there's a very, very high likelihood that it's not actually covered. Yeah, and unfortunately a lot of the attorneys don't know that either. Not all attorneys are created equal. Some will walk you through in those finer points, but that's just one of those examples. They don't have an obligation to tell you that. Neither do I, but I feel a sense of duty to tell you that. So one of the first things we do for families is we help them secure the real estate by making sure that there's maintenance is covered, that the proper insurance is in place, and that there's a plan for dealing with it. Because what we find is a lot of families
Well, that might help. I don't want to go out there even mow the lawn.
Okay. Well, we definitely, I mean, those are essential services, and right now we do have landscapers and lawn companies that are out mowing every day. So that sounds like one thing we could do for you right now. What I wanted to encourage you, like when you and your wife talk, and your daughter, I think, should be included for sure in this conversation. You know, if her intent is to sell the home, we're facing some pretty strong headwinds in the broader economy, and we don't know what's going to happen yet with real estate values when we bring the market back online. But there's a good chance that equity is going to be lost, that prices will correct downward. So one of the things I want you to consider when you talk to your wife and you talk to your daughter is, even though your attorney said, wait for me, you have the right, you have the authority to go ahead and list the home and get offers on it. And we can show you ways to, even if the market is falling, we can show you ways to use creative financing in the offer. So you can will the home to your daughter, and then we can help your daughter sell it with owner financing or a combination of conventional and creative financing to help lock your value in at a higher level. So, for example, a lot of folks who might not necessarily be U.S. citizens yet, but they're here legally, they're people, small business owners who are still essential services, who do have money, that are looking to buy homes. If you sell to them, rather than competing with everybody else on the open marketplace on MLS, when everything comes back online and everyone lists their house, we can be offering your home to a different set of buyers who aren't necessarily even going to be looking to negotiate on price, because they're not worried about the price. They're worried about having a place for their family to live. So these are the types of conversations we're having with families, considering what's going on. Your value could go down. Your holding costs are present regardless. So we reach out to people in the community. We really focus on the people aspect of this, right? We want to understand what this is like for you, your wife, your daughter, everybody involved, what your biggest problems are, and how we can turn your mountain into our molehill. So we can get insurance on the house. We can get the personal property sold online. So while everybody's sitting at home thumbing their phones, they can be buying your stuff. We can go ahead and get a plan in place with your daughter for what she wants to do to maximize the amount of equity she can get out of that home. And how old is your daughter?
She's 26.
Okay. And I'm assuming she'll need money for the next 10 years, right? She's probably going to spend some?
Yeah, we're still helping her.
Yeah. So we can show ways to give her a good chunk of her inheritance right now, as far as what's coming from the house. We can give her a good chunk of that now, but we can give her a lot more over time by doing it the way I was proposing. So we don't have to worry about catching the falling knife like everybody else. We can get her a solid down payment. We can get her a solid borrower, and she can become the bank. And over time, she'll end up making a lot more money. Like we'll probably put a balloon in the loan. But for example, she could carry.
I don't want her to have a balloon in her loan. I was just teasing there, Chad.
And we'll, definitely I want to include her in this conversation. We don't want to make decisions without her, but I'm just trying to show you examples of things that you can do today to really, really minimize the stress and maximize the equity whenever things do return to normal. Now, it certainly isn't, sitting on your hands and doing nothing is an option. I think that your attorney gave you bad advice, frankly, and I don't mind saying that to his face, because there's a lot of things you can do right now that will benefit your family, where if you wait for another 3 or 4 or 5 months, whenever the court backlog finally does clear, we'll just be getting started. And now we can be almost finished. And think of this as like we're in Florida, so you know what the line looks like at Disney World before the gates open, right?
Oh, forget it. Yeah, if you don't have a fast pass, you're screwed.
So would you rather be in the front of that line or the back of that line? Because your attorney is saying, take my advice, go to the back of the line. And what I'm saying is, I've got a fast pass. Let me take your hand, and I'm going to show you how to get in early. And there's things that we're going to do that will help you when we do re-enter the world and real life. We'll have you in the front of the line, not in the back of the line. So when will be like I try to we're obviously working. We're at home all the time right now. I have a spot at 6 o'clock tomorrow night that we could meet as a group. Me, your wife, your daughter, anyone else you'd like to bring.
Well, we're not meeting anyone right now.
No, it will be over Zoom. We'll just do an online meeting.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me just check with my daughter, make sure she's off at that time. It sounds like we do want to have a conversation.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and schedule it for 6. What's the best email to send that to so you can so you guys have it?
Yeah, so Reno@gmail.
Okay. And your daughter and your wife?
I don't have it right offhand, but
well, you can forward that along.
Forward it to them?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll go ahead and block that. That'll block it on my calendar. So if 6 o'clock tomorrow works for you guys, that's great. I'll see you there.
Yeah, if you can give me a call a couple hours ahead of time just to make sure everybody's going to be available.
Yeah, I'll call you by 3 tomorrow. That gives us a little bit of some time. So I'll give you a call around 3 o'clock, and we'll make sure that time still works.
Okay.
All right, and we'll break there.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a few more questions. Obviously, I'm going to reset and go, I almost forgot. I got to do a little bit of homework between now and tomorrow night. Let me ask you a few questions about the house. Can you confirm the address, and then I'll go through all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have all that in my notes to do.
Yeah. So that's how I would approach this.
Yeah, how would you handle it differently? Because I'm only an investor. I'm not a real estate agent yet. And I'm not going to pursue getting that right away. So maybe I just go into, I may want to make you an offer on the house,
well, here's the deal, man.
Myself.
What's a house? Let me ask you this question, seriously. How do you value a house when there's a 12-month moratorium on evictions? How do you know what a safe price is today?
I don't.
It's a rhetorical question. But so the reason I'm asking this, the reason I went with creative financing, I didn't know what your strategy was. But I laid out a strategy that would work whether you're an investor or whether you're a realtor. You can get paid, and it's a good deal. So as an investor, if I said, hey, I'm gonna sell you this house with 20% down with a 5-year balloon on a 30-year amortization, and it's vacant right now, would you take that deal? It's essentially I
guess it depends on selling price, I would say, as a PR.
Right. So as an investor, what I would say is look at that and see what that monthly debt service would be. And if you can rent the house for more than that, what I would suggest is buy the house with owner financing, put it on travelingnurse.com, get yourself a healthcare professional in there on a prepaid lease at a discounted rent to cover your debt service, and you can probably get into that deal, and with a lot less risk.
And the prepaid lease would mitigate any eviction, non-payment, all that junk that's coming around. I get it.
Exactly. So if you buy that house, if you buy that house cash, put a tenant in there today, they join a Facebook rent strike group and say, the hell with Reno, we're living here for free for 12 months. Then you've got a judicial backlog that is months long. That line gets longer and longer by the minute. And it could be a year and a half before you get that asset cleared. But if you buy it on owner financing.
And also you won't be able to sell it, obviously, because there's a tenant in there that needs to be evicted.
Right.
I got it.
But if you put the deal together, the path I was going down was use creative financing, cut the banks out, don't worry about it, show them how it's in their benefit to lock in today's price. And we obviously have to make sure that our monthly payments will create a cash flow for us. But if you can discount the rent and then take prepaid rent for the whole term, then you mitigate a lot of that risk for yourself.
I got you.
All right. We have 5 more in the queue. I'm not sure we're going to get to everybody, but...
Thank you, Chad.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for participating. Next up is phone number ending in 0693. You're up next.
Hey, Chad. It's Dave and Shelley Coates. Thanks for taking our call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dave.
Okay. This is the first time actually calling. So we just first started this, and the question that I have is, sometimes it'll be just like a different number compared to what the executors are. The executors their name isn't even listed. and just trying to figure out just a good way to like get through that. If like you're, say like Jane Smith is the person listed on the call as just like a secondary number, but the executors isn't on there. Just a good way to either ask for the executor or just ask them how they're related to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So 2 callers ago, you heard me go back and say, well, wait a minute, who am I talking with? And I wanted to confirm who I was on the phone with, and that's the reason. So, like, the way we gather phone numbers, if we can't find a good phone number, or even if we do find a good phone number for the personal representative, we're also going to find any relevant numbers we can and push those through to you. So if you notice, I start every phone call by saying, hi, I'm trying to reach Dave.
Yes.
I don't, if a man's voice picks up, I'm like, oh, hey, is this Dave? I don't do that. I used to do that, but I don't. I learned better. So no matter who you're calling, it's always, oh, hey, I'm trying to reach Dave Smith. And it almost always is, this is Dave. Who is this? Oh, hey, I'm glad I caught you, and just roll right into it. But that alleviates a lot of awkwardness. If you just call and be like, hi, this is Chad Corbett. I'm Dave, or things like how other people might do it or how I've done it in the past. But I find it's usually really smooth and never a sticking point if you just say, oh, I'm trying to reach Dave Smith. And if they're like, well, who is this? It's like, well, I think that what I usually say is, actually, I like to know who I'm talking to because I sometimes am not really great at finding the right phone number. I was trying to reach Dave Smith. Is this Dave Smith? And make them confirm. And if it's like a wife, if it's obvious it's a female voice and I'm calling Dave, and chances are that's probably his wife or sister or somebody in the family. And I could say, oh, well, listen, I'm trying to reach Dave Smith. The reason is we have a team of people that help families going through probate. And each month we try to reach out to each family and more specifically the personal rep. Could you share Dave's phone number with me? And then I'm just going to be silent and see what feedback I get. But typically they'll be like, yeah, I guess this is his cell phone, and they'll give you the number.
Okay, you still there?
Okay. Yeah, I was just digesting. So no, that sounds good. Just one other quick question. So what if the PR, their number is on a do not call, but then you call somebody else who wasn't on a do not call, but then they give you that number that's on a do not call? Is that still considered a do not call?
I don't think so. You have consent from the family to call someone who's acting as a public representative.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, we have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 8422. Familiar name. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing well, Jim. How are you?
Excellent. Up there in the panhandle of Florida.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to be the PR today, and I want Chad to call me.
All right. Want to give him
Ring.
a clue why? Okay, we'll just start calls. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is actually going to be off one of the calls from my lead agent over here got last week. I think you and I talked about it. I want to see how Chad handles it.
Sure.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Dennis.
Yes, this is him.
Hey, Dennis. My name's Chad. I'm calling because we've got a team here in Pensacola that helps families going through probate. And as part of that, we actually go to the clerk's office each month. And before we all got shut down, we had noticed that you, on the last list we pulled from the clerk, we noticed that you're the executor of an estate. So just wanted to let you know we're here in the community, and even in this environment, there's a lot of things we're doing to help families kind of move the ball down the field, because we're finding a lot of attorneys have told families they just can't do anything, and it's ended up costing them a lot of money, and there's a lot of things we can do to help, even though it might not feel that way to most of the families. So I just wanted to let you know we're here, we're working, and see if there's any way I can help you. What's one thing you could put on my plate and get off of yours?
I'm going to put this on your plate right now. You called me up after I've lost my 12-year-old son.
Okay, well, I can deal with it. It's unfortunate. Every once in a while we do talk to families who did lose children that had assets. It's uncommon. It's certainly not, we're not calling to try to peel scabs or open wounds, but we do realize that A lot of families, especially in your situation, they have a stress level that most of us can't even imagine. And they don't know what all their options are or what the best things to do. One example is, if you had a living trust for your family members, you wouldn't be going through this. And that's something we try to do for every family to make sure you never have to go through this again. Would you find it valuable to never have to get another one of these phone calls?
Oh my God, you would not believe how many phone calls and letters we've gotten.
Fair enough. I'm betting this one's going to go a little bit differently than the other ones. So this is really a people business for me, Dennis, and I'm sorry that you're going through what you are, especially with everything else that's happening right now. But I honestly believe that I'm doing your family a disservice if I don't reach out and let you know that there's someone here that can help. Sometimes that means connecting you with social workers or therapists. We have clients that we've helped just find somebody to talk to. And I don't know how old are you, Dennis?
I'm 47.
Yeah, so this won't apply to you, but some of the families we're working with right now, Medicare and Medicaid have opened up new programs to elderly folks, and we have them on. We've gotten them free telehealth, and they're actually talking with counselors to get through this because it's such a hard time. That might not apply to you, but we do have counselors right now that are doing sessions on Skype. So if you just need someone to talk to. So I'm not calling to steal a house from you. I'm not calling to take advantage of your family. I'm calling because my call to duty is to make sure that the people in my community are taken care of. And maybe there's nothing I can do for you guys. But if there is, I want to know it so I can at least take a chance or, try to help you guys. So is this just, are you too raw to even have the conversation? Would it be better if I call back, or can you think of anything that we might be able to do to help you guys?
Yeah, man, you probably, just call me back. That'd be okay.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I'll give you a couple of weeks. I mean, I've got nothing to sell to you, Dennis, but I do want to help you. So I'll call back in a couple of weeks. This is my cell phone. Did you get the number?
Yeah, I've got it here.
Okay. Even if you just need someone to talk to about what to do about X, Y, or Z, please just pick up the phone and call me first. I'm not a probate attorney, but I do work with several, and I even train them. I train them on the people aspects, not the legal aspects. So we pride ourselves in what we can do to help people and how we can help them get through these times. So please, just if you can make a commitment, when you need help, please just call my cell phone, and we'll be there for you.
Okay.
And we'll break. So you understand why a 12-year-old estate's being probated, right?
I would guess that they were left some property by somebody, grandma.
They probably inherited real estate or a stock portfolio, like an investment account or something like that. They had assets in excess of $100,000, even though they were 12.
Okay.
And it's not common, but every once in a while you'll walk into that bee's nest, and all you can do is what I did.
Okay, very good. Yep, Ricardo's here listening to this. That's good. Thank you very much for your time there, Chad. Appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks, Dennis.
Okay.
Jimmers?
Yes, sir. We have one more in the queue. We're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to go a few minutes over. And last up today is phone number ending in 8213. You're up last.
Hi, Chad. I actually didn't want to do role play. I have a question about some of the role plays that you just did with some of the callers.
Okay.
I am completely new to this, so hopefully it's not too amateur of a question, but I'll ask it anyway. So
no bad questions, man.
Thank you. I heard you mentioning something along the lines of that there's a 5% in administration fees that most families don't know about. So I have two questions within that one. So A, does the 5% that you were referring to, does that include commissions and attorney fees or no?
It includes attorney's fees, not real estate commissions. That's a cost of selling real estate, not a cost of estate administration. But typically the administrator can invoice the estate for their time. So if they have to take off, 50 hours away from work and they normally earn $10 an hour, then they can invoice the estate $5,000 for the value of their time. The attorney, it's different from state to state, like attorney fee structures, but they're obviously going to make as much as they can. And that's oftentimes why they give such shitty advice, like don't do anything until I tell you to, because they can draw it out longer, right? And I have a problem with the ethics of that. And there are some very, very good estate probate attorneys that don't do that, but a lot of them do. So the cost ratchet up based on the amount of time and effort that it took. So they like those billable hours, right? But on average across the country, the administration cost, meaning what it costs to pay the attorney and the PR and anyone else like appraisers or BPOs, anything that you had to have that gets paid on that line, on average it's about 5%.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. And then you also mentioned one of your lines was, I'm not going to ask you for any money up front. So let's say you're an agent and you're making your call after you sent out the letter. If these people say, what fees are you referring to and how much, let's say they cut you off and it's someone like Grace, right? Kind of lost their temper and just cut you off, and you say, I'm not going to ask you for any money up front. They'll say, well, what money is involved in this? Do you go back to what you just mentioned about the administration fees?
I would try to answer
you're
the
not
question.
really charging them. Make sense?
I would try to answer with a question. I would say, so Grace, how do you think I get paid? And I would want to reveal, I want to put her back on her heels, and I want to stay in control of the conversation. I'm not going to go down the path that someone's trying to put me down, especially if they're being disrespectful or they're distrusting. I want them back on their heels, and I want to walk up and look them in the eye and say, no. This is the way we're going. Follow. Don't lead. So I'm going to answer that probably with a question. It's like, well, how do you think I get paid? And then this gives me some time to collect my thoughts and understand, know where I'm going next, right? So while they're stammering through that, trying to figure it out, I've put them back on their heels, and now I'm like, all right, what's my next entry point? What's the next good question I can ask? And while they're stammering through that, well, I don't know, I don't know if you take fees, it's also going to reveal concerns and distrust. So if they're like, well, I just want you to know I'm not paying you any retainer fee or anything like she starts to give me all of her objections because I put her back on her heels and stayed in control. I hear all the objections before she knows she's actually giving them to me. So I'm just lining them up and I'm listening. As long as that person will run on that rant, I'll let them run because that's all useful information. They're drawing my roadmap for me, right? So that's how I respond to things like that. Try to respond with a question that'll put them on their heels, give you time to think, and then be a really good listener. And silence can be a really, really effective tool when you're doing that.
Okay, and so in the event that when you say that and they answer, you answer with the, well, how do you think I make my money? What if their response is, well, I'm not really sure what you specifically do, because let's say you're an agent, you didn't necessarily mention you are an agent. Is that something we should just throw into the conversation?
Okay, you said you didn't want to role play, but I want you to, because this is going to be far more effective. Okay.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
So let's just jump in there. You hit me with the objection. What was your name?
Federico, or Fed. Fed's easier.
Fed, okay. You were in Mastery last month, right?
No, I just
you were on one of the Shift Happens calls. That's where I saw. I know your name from.
I was muted. I couldn't unmute myself. I tried to.
Okay, so let's just start with the objection. Hit me.
Well, what exactly is it that you do?
It's a hard question to answer, Fed. I mean, really, we focus on people and situations. So we try to reach out to families to see what their needs are, and then we decide what we do. But it can range anywhere from me doing nothing to help you guys to me actually completely renovating your house, selling it for absolute top dollar, taking that money, showing you how to double it every 4 years, and your family will never stop talking to me because I can put so much equity into your life, and you never knew that something like this existed. It's probably somewhere in the middle, and it starts with just understanding what the family's needs are. Then we can give you some options, and you can make a choice. So what's been the toughest thing for you guys so far, the thing that you need the most help with?
Well, I know there's a lot of moving pieces, and you mentioned there's administration fees and all that stuff, and that you're not going to ask me for any money up front. So I don't understand what exactly your role is, because we already have an attorney in place, and
Sure.
I don't understand what these fees you're referring to are. What fee do you need? What fee goes to you?
So it really depends on how we end up helping you. So like I said, we try to understand what your problems are. Then we know what solutions are right for you. And each of those will have, some of them have no fees, some of them have commissions, some of them have flat rates, some of them are things that, like, we help families reinvest the inheritance, and they pay commissions over time to a registered investment advisor. A lot of it doesn't even come to into my pocket. I've built a team of professionals that we've vetted that help with a variety of different things. So, I mean, it sounds like you're sensitive to that. Have you talked to somebody who is trying to get money out of you or something?
I just know nothing's free in life. So, when I hear all these services, I'm a little skeptical.
Sure. Well, and that skepticism is pointed at me. I would invite you to go figure out what it's going to cost you for the administration of the estate. The average American pays 5%. So one of the things we try to make sure is that your family never has to do that again. We're very, very, cost sensitive, cost conscious, and we try to make sure, for me, it's what's most important is I can help you get through this as quickly as possible with as little stress as possible, and maximize the equity that the family can keep. And even in this environment, when we're all locked down, we've had to pivot, and we've found ways to help families go ahead and move the ball down the field while their attorneys are saying, just don't do anything, because that's ratcheting the cost up. So the fees that you're already comfortable with are far in excess of anything that you and I are going to talk about. There's no way that I'm going to charge you 5% of the gross value of the estate for anything that I've mentioned. So I get that you're price sensitive, that you don't quite know what to expect, and that's fine. We can talk through all that. But understand what you're already comfortable with is far more expensive than anything that you and I have to discuss.
Okay, so in that case, aside from the attorney, should I be reaching out to a realtor to see about, getting the property sold?
Well, that's something that, we specialize in probate real estate. We do have, we have a brokerage division. We have an investor division. We try to understand, what's more important, time or equity. If time is most important, then we can bring you a cash offer, and usually we can close within 2 to 3 business days. If equity is most important, then we can obviously help you from a brokerage standpoint. And in environments like this, we even go as far as, we will coach you to use creative financing techniques to help you maximize the price and get through, like unstable lending environments like we're in right now. So you can, if you have realtors that we encourage you to meet with them before you meet with us, so you can understand what a difference our service can bring to your family. So do you have somebody in mind, or did I just get the job?
I was just trying to get your advice, since you told me to gather everyone up. So I didn't know you guys provided that. So absolutely, I'll speak with you guys.
So pretty much anything you can think of in the estate, we pretty much have a solution in-house, and that's the whole point of this. We try to have a vertically integrated solution for families, so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 months running around trying to meet 25 different people. Think of it, the old saying, you make molehills into mountains. We kind of do the opposite. We take your mountain and we make it into a molehill. We've spent years building out our team and finding the right people that always do what they say, and we've negotiated costs as low as we possibly can on your behalf. So anything that you would need, you've got right here. You need one phone number to deal with everything. other than the legal aspects, and that's where your probate attorney, we consider them a part of our team.
Okay, so my understanding is that your team essentially is able to provide me the right contact for anything I may need, and then I pay everyone individually. Correct?
That's right. And what do you think you need the most right now, Fed?
I need to get this house sold.
Okay. And I'm going to break there because Jim and I we have to run. We've got like 2 minutes. But guys, listen, this call will be posted in the All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group. It's in a playlist on YouTube. If you go to alltheleads.com/CCVA, Conference Call Video Archive, it's posted there along with all the other role play calls from every month since we started. But sorry if anyone didn't get in the queue. The other thing.
No, we got them. We got them all. Good job.
Oh, awesome! Perfect timing.
And I just close like I always do. Thank you all for being here. I challenge each of you, take one thing you learned on today's call, go out and put it into practice, and be sure to come back tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, for our role play call. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.